Hello, everybody. Welcome to Inside the Booth.
Let me hear you make some noise.
Wait.
All right, settle down.
Hello, everybody. Let's get ourselves in the right place here. What? No. All right. Hands off. Great minds think alike. Got to put each other in our places. Welcome to Inside the Booth. I'm Dreaming Tabitha. Over there's
I'm
Dan
the Law.
And it's Christmas season once again, because that's what we do. We do videos during the Christmas season. And we are continuing with our series, our little mini series here of the worst Christmas movies ever. And we're on episode 3 now, the finale. Could this potentially be the worst Christmas movie ever? We are going to let you know. That's right, we are.
That's right.
And then we're going to compare the point system that we had for all the other movies that we watched. And if you haven't checked out the videos where we rated the Christmas holiday or Star Wars holiday special and Santa Conquers the Martians, be sure to check out our reviews on that. Look at the scoring system and what the points were at the end, and come check out and see which movie was rated the worst. What do you think, Dan? Do you think, I don't know, this could be the worst? Do you think it's the worst out of all 3 we've watched so far? Or
Probably not.
Probably not. Okay.
No.
Cool. We will see.
We will see.
See. Got my notes. I got my red pen of death here in my hand, so that every point signed and sealed in blood. Yes.
Beautiful.
Get that prepped and ready to go. Oh yes.
Nice. Well, let's just get into it.
You want to just dive right into it? Let's do it.
Dive right in.
We're going with, of course, the plot. The plot. I do like hearing Dan's take on the plot for this movie. Oh, by the way, we're doing Merry Friggin Christmas. If you didn't see that already. I mean, that already should spark
I didn't
joy.
Even have a picture to put up there like I did the other ones.
Should spark some joy. You know, nothing like Merry Friggin Christmas to get you in the spirit, make you. I mean, I guess it does set the tone, does it already? You know, when you have a title like that, I guess it already gives a precursor to the plot anyway. Obviously,
right.
Happiest moments, but
mostly.
What would your take on the plot be of this interesting film?
My take
on the plot, yes. How would you wrap this up in a bow nicely and present it to somebody?
So there's a dad and there's a son, and apparently he's got another son and a daughter, but this is basically on the oldest son, I guess. The movie's about the oldest son and how the dad was not a good dad because he didn't tell his son that Santa was real or something. He told him the truth instead. I don't know. That's strange.
Painted him as the bad guy for some reason.
Yeah. Like, oh, this guy, I could never do any good for him, and it was just strange. Yeah. I guess that's. And then in the end, they make up and love each other again.
Right. It's kind of like the first half and the end of it. The middle would be then that the guy, the son, has his own family and is trying to keep the magic of Christmas alive with his kids.
Right.
But slowly they're not believing in Santa Claus, and he wants them to believe in Santa Claus. According to IMDb, forced to spend Christmas at his parents' house, Boyd Mitchler must hit the road with his eccentric father to get his son's Christmas gifts before the morning. Wow. Their plot, there we go. Their plot synopsis is very different from ours.
Yes.
They didn't
He
even
was
talk
forced
about
to.
Santa Claus at all.
Yeah, exactly.
I will say that for me, like a big part of this plot is basically dad forces son to believe in Santa Claus.
Yeah.
Like goes at
The
great
last year
lengths.
of his life, or until he turned 7 or something, because he was
Yeah.
6.
Dad
He's
forces
got to at
young
least believe one
child,
more year. One more year.
and it's like everything around this kid, like his cousins, people at the store, even his own sister at one point, was trying to tell him like Santa Claus isn't real. That's just for babies. And he's like,
Yeah.
and the dad turns into kind of a jerk a lot
He
of times, like
does.
yelling at the people,
Dad,
like don't tell him.
don't say that.
And at one point, he yelled at one of the teachers, "Shut your mouth! Just shut your mouth!" And it's
Yeah,
like, do you
that
think
was
your
his
kid
nephew or
is?
something.
Do you think that your kid is stupid, that he can't read between the lines, and the fact that you're yelling at his cousin to shut up
Yeah,
about Santa Claus? You told his sister to be quiet about Santa Claus. And
right.
then you're telling everybody else that they need to, and then he left the kid's Christmas present on accident at his house, right? On Christmas Eve, decides to abandon his family to go get a Christmas present for his son so that his son will continue to believe in Santa Claus on Christmas Day. That's
And
the synopsis of this story,
right.
really.
And his son didn't even want that gift.
And his son didn't even care. That part got me so frustrated. And in the end, his
I
mom gave
laughed.
him a secret present, if you will, one that his dad didn't know about. And it was
Well, one his
bridge for
dad had when he was
juniors.
a kid. Yeah,
Yeah,
bridge
for juniors. No, not like building bridges like models. No, bridge. Right? It was a bridge
It's like
game.
a game board or something.
Yeah, bridge for kids. And he's like, "Whoa, grandma, look what I got."
I wanted to learn how to play this.
This was awful. This was so bad. I right away am giving this no points. This is one of the worst plots trying to tie together family and Christmas spirit that I've ever seen in my life. 0 points from Tabitha. It's a very discouraging movie, honestly.
I don't know. I thought it was kind of cute a little bit, so I'll give it a half a point.
I don't think it was
I
cute at all.
I didn't, I understand where you're coming from, and
Mhm.
I agree with you, but at the same time, there was some parts of the plot that was, enjoyable to watch.
Like
So,
what? Like what? Tell me.
I don't know. It's just some of it was funny to me. It was like, especially with the drunk Santa Claus that they keep finding on the
Well,
way.
but that's not really part of the plot, right? Those are just scenes that might have been
Right,
okay,
right.
but it's not really actually part of the plot.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
It's like the whole storyline for me, the premise of this film was just awful. But yes, there were some moments where it was like it was cute or it was funny, but it didn't make up for me the bad story writing. Because it's really a selfish dad who is trying to
Right.
he's hinging his Christmas spirit on forcing his child to make sure they still continue to believe in Christmas. His kid would have been
Right.
okay, right?
Right.
But it's just
fine.
and like
No, you're right. You're right. I don't know. I'll still give it a half a point.
A for effort, right? Yeah,
Yeah,
they
A for
tried. I will say that
It's kind of a different style movie.
that's true. And I mean, going into this kind of ties into our next category, so we talked about the plot, and then the next one would be the the acting, right? Our next plot. Make sure I always get those correct.
Great actors. Well,
Yeah.
at least a couple of great actors. I liked some of them.
So this movie, if you've never seen it, has Robin Williams, who plays the grandfather, grouchy old grandfather, who is
And this
apparently
came out in 2014.
14.
Remember, Robin Williams died in August 2014. So
okay. Gosh, has
So-
it been that long already? My
it has
gosh.
been, yeah.
And then it's got Joel
This-
McHale, some dude
this
that
is
I've seen
one of the
before, but
best.
I have no idea who he is.
Right.
There he is. Lauren Graham, Clark Duke,
She's
Candice
a
Bergen.
good actress. I like Lauren Graham.
I like her too. And it's just so like they have like a good group of actors, but I think again because the fact that I thought it was such a poor storyline. But I will tell you what, the sister, I feel like honestly the hero of this movie was the little sister. Now, while she was one of these Greenpeace Earth First kind of gals at age like 11, by the way,
Right.
you know, holding her little frappe like she's some prima donna special whatever, she no longer believes in Santa Claus, and she was proceeding to have a discussion with her little brother in the beginning of the movie about how Santa's not real, when her dad kind of pulls her to the side and explains, hey, he still believes and there's some magic there. Basically, it'd be great if you just let your brother continue believing. And I will have to say that while they made every other member of the family pretty much idiots, weirdos, felons, that she says, okay, she doesn't turn into this snobby, like she didn't look at her dad and be like, please dad, he'll have to learn eventually. She actually listened to her father. And then later on in the film, when her brother is starting to doubt whether or not Santa Claus is real, she actually reassures him and does what her father asks.
Right.
And was really sweet about it. And I have to say that that was the one thing, as far as acting goes, like I thought that she did a really good job with her scenes that she had, and that, you know, tying into the plot, or, you know, I thought that was like the one bright spot of the whole film. Like an 11-year-old that actually listened to her dad and was looking out for her little brother. I mean, the acting, this is really hard for me because, like you said, there's a bunch of good actors, but I mean, they were served what they had. They did a good job. Although, honestly,
you know, like the dad's dad is kind of grumpy old man.
Oh,
you know,
Robin Williams' character.
Yeah, he, I think he did a good job as a grumpy old man. And then, kind of, you know, and then when he goes into his sad spot where he's like, you know, I wish I did things differently, things like that. You know.
Yeah. Regretful.
Yeah, it was nice to see the change in the, you know, like through the movie,
right,
through the acting and stuff. And I think he did a good job.
I mean, Robin Williams, of course, he's pretty much good at anything that he did. I mean, you gave him a line, you know, or you gave him a role and he would just take off and become that person and turn it into his own thing. But I honestly, watching this, I just kind of thought that for me, a lot of the actors, there didn't seem to be a lot of passion behind it. Like this was a movie they decided to do, but almost like you could tell that this wasn't their favorite movie they ever did.
I guess it couldn't have been their favorite movie that they ever did, but I don't know. I thought they all did good working together. It seemed like they had fun making this film, but I
maybe
I don't know.
We don't know what they said around the water cooler, but I don't know. I just kind of thought that it was good actors just doing what they were supposed to do because it was their job, not because they really wanted to. Right. Or not that they want to, but like they did it, they wanted to do it, but there was no, like I said, no passion. I didn't get any, you know, sparks in their characters. You know, kind of like when you watch like Iron Man and Robert Downey Jr. takes on that role, and he is that person. You can tell he loves being that character. And this for me was just like, well, they almost like they knew they were making a B-rated movie kind of thing. Like they knew this wasn't going to be blockbuster, and it's kind of channeled.
It's very Hallmarky, I guess you could say.
On the dark side, yeah.
This movie's a little bit on the Hallmarky. Yeah, on the dark side, because it's very dark outside.
So it's one of those things. I'll give it. I wasn't impressed, even with their skill level. Like it's just like I give it a 0. I'm going to be that person. I'm going to be a jerk and give Robin Williams a 0.
Because I did enjoy some of it, I'm going to give it a 1 point.
Oh, 1 point. Oh, look at you. You know, I don't know. It's just a weird this trope of the terrible family dynamic around the holidays. Yeah, even though this is
you know, they have, you know, just like every family's got their issues.
Squabbles, yeah, for sure. Of course, this was heightened to an extreme, but you got the pervert son-in-law.
The pervert son-in-law, and he's
The-
like, he was very drunk, and
In my defense, I was drunk. Yeah.
yeah, I was very drunk, and another defense was he was double dog dared to do it. pretty
Double
much.
dog dared. I mean, how do you backtrack from that? And then,
Exactly.
his wife is still nursing like a 4 or 5-year-old, and it's like, okay, all right, come on now. And to each their own. It just, and then the one son who, man, the christening scene. And he's like, hi, my name is Nelson. I'm bringing forth. Well, it's not actually my kid. See, what happened was that my wife, we live near a military base, and she met this Mexican guy, and she said she would, she ran off, and he got her pregnant, and she had the baby, and she came by and said, hey, could you do me a solid and watch this kid for a little while? And he said, and that was 6 months ago. And oh my gosh. I mean, kudos to that young man for stepping up, but still, wow.
That was hilarious.
So bad. Well, okay. 0 and 1. Okay. So for cinematography, our next, not plot, our next category. You go first, Dan.
I'll go first. Cinematography. It was a movie. It was a decent cinematography. It wasn't bad. It wasn't good. It wasn't,
mediocre.
It was just a movie. It was, of course they had to light it properly so you could see their faces and stuff like that. But, I'll have to give it a half a point, I guess, because it wasn't terrible, but there wasn't nothing groundbreaking. But of course, it's just like almost like a Hallmark movie. So it was just a whatever.
To me, it did kind of have like this cheaper quality of cinematography.
Right.
Like you said, nothing impactful, nothing dynamic, nothing interesting. It was just like, hey, we need to make a movie, make sure it looks nice.
Yeah. And in 2014, I don't remember any houses with regular house phones. I mean, that.
Well,
I mean, kind of modern day 2014 was still kind of.
But the parents, we mean the grandparents' house?
Okay, right.
So, I mean, they probably have lived there since the 90s, the 80s, whatever the case was. It's the same house they grew up in.
What about the other guy who had the cordless house phone?
Oh, I may have missed that.
It wasn't even a cell phone. He goes, oh, yeah, I got caller ID on my phone. Shows up.
I totally missed that. Yeah.
Oh,
well, maybe some people still did. That was the era, wasn't it, of having both the cell phone and still like letting go of the house phone?
I think that was more like 2011.
Yeah, you're right. It's probably a little further back than that.
14 was already still.
Yeah.
Everybody had cell phones, and maybe a couple people still had house phone. I don't know, but I know me and my family's never. In 2014 did. So.
I think we gave up the house phone, in like honestly in 2007 or something.
Yeah, like 2009.
It was a while back. But as far as there were some moments, especially in the beginning when you get to the parents' house, like it felt like a very small space, right? And very tight. The camera that when they shot it, everything was really tight, and there was really no depth. And I understand that some people's houses aren't that big, but from a creation movie standpoint, like you're building sets and whatnot. And then there was one scene that caught my attention that to me looked a little bit cheesy, very theatrical, was when Robin Williams was sitting in his chair. It's really in the beginning, among the first few times that we see his character, and his wife is excited about people spending Christmas together, and he's over there complaining. And while he's sitting in his rocking chair or his lounge or whatever, the light is shining like pretty much exactly on the side of his face.
Mm-hmm.
And it just didn't look natural. He's got the window on the other side, but that doesn't seem to be really affecting him. And then she's got this, it looked like a theater thing, like somebody was shining a spotlight down on him. I mean, it wasn't terrible, but I didn't really like the color scheme either, because it's one of those things, like this was supposed to be like, it's like a comedic family Christmas movie, right? But we've got a lot of like the color scheme was kind of dark and a little bit gritty in some places. I don't know. That just didn't. It confused me. The color scheme that they chose for this film kind of
Yeah,
confused
they
me
kind
as
of
to what they were doing.
they were trying to go for a, because there was like a grain to it, or like
Mm-hmm.
a, they added a little noise to the film itself. It looked like they were trying to go for, oh, we filmed this back in like 1991 or something. But yeah,
Yeah,
they still had cell phones and stuff. So it was like,
it just was a little
no, that's not
confusing
the
to me.
time era. Yeah, exactly. It was kind of confusing on how they filmed it and stuff. Um, so yeah, that's why I say
I
half a point.
half a point. I don't know. I didn't like it. It's not something that works for me. And I just, like I said, this movie, it made me confused with the vibe because colors are so important
Angry.
for storytelling.
It made you
I don't want to be an
angry just to
actor,
be
but I'm gonna give it a 0 because it was like, if this movie would have been less comedic and more gritty, then that would totally have made sense. I don't think it made sense for this film, for me
right.
personally.
Right.
But man,
Moving on up.
moving on up, the music. Oh my goodness.
Was there any music? That's my question.
There was, okay, so I'm gonna right off the bat just give this a 0 because I was like trying to remember where there even was music, and then when there was music, it wasn't memorable. The sad part is Ludwig Göransson, if that's how we pronounce his name, was the guy for the music here. And what's sad is that he is known for films such as let's see, the Rocky franchise, Creed, Creed 2, Venom, Tenet. Like,
Okay.
pretty notice like
Yeah, pretty
important
memorable
memorable
sci-fi
films.
music. Yeah.
Like they hired this guy, and like again, that's where I'm saying I feel like this movie lacked a lot of passion. So they hired a bunch of expensive, important, really capable and talented people, and then it's not even worth
All off the
watching.
wayside. Yeah.
I give
No,
0. It's just bland.
yeah. I'm gonna have to give the music a 0 also, because you're right. It was bland. I didn't really know where it was.
Doesn't put you in a Christmas
Maybe,
feel,
yeah,
even at the end.
yeah, maybe it served its purpose by being in the movie somewhere, but it's not like it was.
But see, just being available doesn't mean it's serving its purpose. Like we could have put the
Right.
Eye of the Tiger somewhere, and then we would have been like, well, they had music, but it doesn't serve.
Right.
It's a Christmas
I don't
movie.
even know if they. I don't even know if they had Christmas music. Did they? Did they
I don't
pick any?
think so. I don't remember, even like in the car scenes. And well, okay, I mean,
Well,
you
they
had
did
Robin
sing
Williams
cover,
singing. Was it like Silent Night? I think, but that doesn't count, right? That's part of the acting.
Right.
That's not really part of the
Right.
music score. Say the composition, but the music score. So I give it a 0 as well.
Yeah. Last but not least, the allegory.
All right. You want to go first?
Do you want me to go first? Or
I do.
Okay. All right. So the
Because I'm going to be
allegory-
brutal. It's going to be a bloodbath when I come for it.
Yeah. I kind of liked the father-son aspect of the allegory, and then where they forgive each other and reconcile with each other. So I guess that's where mine would be. Reconciliation, forgiveness, and just knowing that they loved each other is pretty much what I got out of it. I did enjoy those little parts, and I think they acted pretty well. And then what was funny is when they're hugging in the car while they're driving, the brother's like, "Oh, I'm gonna get on that too," and he jumps on him, and then that's when he hits the Mr. Santa Claus,
Right. That
the
nasty.
drunk
Yeah.
bum Santa, which in the end he goes and gives the gift over to the kid, and he drinks all the bourbon.
I know.
And then he leaves, and he goes, "I think it was a success."
Drunk Santa Claus. Yeah, I mean,
I thought
I
it was
knew I knew you were gonna go for the father-son trope. You always do.
Did you? Yeah. I always do.
I mean, I guess, I mean, it's there. It's just, I think it was just kind of predictable for that, like,
Right.
But at the same time, kind of like what we were going back to talking about the plot, it's like they made up and they forgave each other, which of course is always good. But it was like, but they make it like, oh, the son finally forgave his father, and yeah, well, his son was the dirtbag, really, in all of this, because he treated his dad like crap for not making him believe in Santa Claus. Like, it wasn't his dad's fault.
Right.
But
well, apparently, but if you listen throughout the whole movie, I guess his dad didn't feel like his dad supported him in all the other areas.
Right. He was a very harsh, no nonsense kind of dad.
Right.
Yeah. Right.
So.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, forgiveness, very important. Family's important, so it's nice when you can come together around the holidays. And, all right. My turn.
Your turn.
Oh, what do you give the allegory?
Oh, I'll give it a point.
Okay. That's
a full solid point.
All right. I keep harping on the dad and like the plot, and this is where I'm gonna go with this, okay? Because that was a big theme throughout the entire thing. And my allegory is sometimes you need to let stuff go. Your attempt to secure or make someone happy could actually be hindering their growth. He was again forcing his son to believe in somebody, non-existent, just because he thought that would be the only thing that would make his kid happy on Christmas. Like he himself didn't even understand his own son. There's kind of a deeper thing here. It's like his father didn't understand him, the grandfather, and then that guy didn't even understand his own son. Didn't understand that his own son would be okay, and that his son didn't even care. Really, at the end of it, he got this present, and that's what I'm saying. Like, he abandoned his family. You notice that he became obsessed with what his perfect idea of what somebody's life outcome or whatever should be.
Should be, right, exactly.
And pretty much
when you don't have to
for nothing.
Yeah,
for nothing. For
and he
nothing.
realized it was for nothing at the end, and he was like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah. Kind of like the Grinch says, maybe Christmas doesn't come from the store. Maybe Christmas means a little bit more. And it wasn't even about the presents. It wasn't so much that he needed his kid to have special kinds of presents. It's more like he just needed to have a present as evidence that Santa existed.
Yeah.
And that to me was just really sad. Way that they had, and so overall in life, sometimes we could try to force somebody to become something. A lot of times parents, they have good intentions, but they try to maneuver their children in a certain direction that they believe would be the best choice, not realizing that it might not be, right? And we can get blinded by our good intentions and become obsessed with this idea, and sometimes it hurts people more than it helps them. And sometimes you just got to grow up. And the kid was surrounded by enough people that didn't believe in Santa Claus that he wouldn't have felt stupid, silly, or out of place. He actually would have been among the normal people, or he actually would have been among the chosen, right? He would have fell into that group of kids that like that growth initiation kind of thing. He would have been accepted. And so just kind of what I got out of this was like, we could ruin a lot of people's moments, whether it's a birthday, holiday, college, whatever career choices, if we're holding on so tightly of what we think brings the magic and what should be. So it's like, let it go. Just let it go.
Beautiful.
I'll let you rate mine. I'm not going to rate my own allegory.
It was wonderful. I'll give it a point.
Okay, give it a point.
Yeah, give it a point. Give it a point.
Well, as usual, then I'm going to tally up the points for this film, And then Dan's going to do his thing, and we're also going to compare all of our other 2 movies to see which movie we think here on Inside the Booth is the worst Christmas movie ever. Dan, take it away.
All right. So for you that don't know anything about YouTube and it's your first time, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Vanquish the like button. And as always,
Want to ring the bell? All right. Ding, ding.
so you get notified for more videos coming. And don't forget, everybody, if you want to help support the channel, we have a merchandise store. You buy things from us that helps us out. www.insidetheboothtv.com/shop. And you can also become a Patreon member for just $1. Hold on, let me do this. Let me do this for just $1 a month, everybody. And so yeah, I think I did it. That's it.
You did the thing. Sorry, I had the wrong notebook for all of the points of our other films, so I had to go try to find that.
Find them. That's okay.
My bad. We're professionals here, you know.
We are very professional.
Never give up. Never surrender.
Never give up, Devin.
Never give up, never surrender. I tell you what, I will. I find, you know, all of these things here. It's terrible. We're supposed to talk about the worst Christmas movies ever. And like I said, we did the Star Wars holiday special.
Yeah.
And then we did Santa Conquers the Martians.
Conquers the Martians.
And it would be fantastic, Dan. As much as I like to be prepared for everything, I cannot find the scoreboard for those movies.
Oh.
If I am not mistaken. So, first and foremost, Merry Friggin Christmas. And I'm a little bit upset about this. How many points out of 10 possible points, how many points do you think Merry Friggin Christmas got?
Let's see here. I'm thinking it got 5.
Got 5. Well, you'd be wrong. Finally, you would be wrong.
Darn. Was it
but
4?
Not by much. I'm really surprised. It got 4 points. 4
out
points.
Of 10.
Isn't that terrible? So if I'm not
4
mistaken,
out of 10.
that which is still pretty bad. Honestly, in my opinion, I would rate this the worst Christmas film I've ever seen in my life, and counting Santa Conquers the Martians and Star Wars Holiday Special. Okay.
Really?
But
I don't know. I don't think I would do that.
I hope
I kind of liked this movie better than Santa and the Martians and
I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't like
Star
those
Wars
movies either.
Special.
But this is driving me crazy. I always have the same notebook, and I must have switched the notebooks.
You must have switched it or ripped out the paper and threw it in the garbage.
I never do that because I know that I needed it. Oh my gosh. Tabitha, get it together, girl. But so I do remember that Star Wars, if I'm not mistaken, Star Wars Christmas Special and Santa Conquers the Martians somehow have fewer points than what these ones have today. And so if I'm not mistaken, I believe that the Star Wars Holiday Special was ranked the lowest. If it had about 2 points, 2 points,
really?
I think.
Okay.
Was it 1.5? And then Santa Conquers the Martians, I don't think it even got 3. I apologize, guys, for not being better prepared. Normally I am. I don't know what happened to those papers. I believe an elf came in and stole it. They don't want us to tell the truth. That's what it is. Somebody came in and they're like, don't. Not that you can't go back and look at our previous episodes and find out for yourself. See, I did this on purpose. If you really want to know which movie was the worst, you're going to have to go back and watch our reviews. But I do know this for sure. Merry Friggin Christmas is apparently not the worst out of these 3. It's actually the best out of the worst 3.
That's right.
So
the best worst one.
I would say it's the worst one. But hey, the numbers are what they are. Dan, So Dan rescued this movie. Congratulations, Dan. Thank you guys so much for watching. Do you guys like Merry Friggin Christmas?
Merry Friggin Christmas.
Do you guys think I'm being too harsh on this movie? What do you think could have made it better? I just think personally, like the magic behind, there's a lot of movies out there that talk about how families are wonky. Like Dan said, we've all got our squabbles and our pitfalls and whatnot, but we come together. It's almost like National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. Like that's the epitome, right? That's everything that they kind of base it off. I'm trying to figure out what makes that movie so different because there was a lot going on, hateful relatives, annoying relatives. And I think the key factor is that there was somebody who was genuinely happy about everything of Christmas and tried his best to maintain his happiness. Whereas in a lot of the movies like this one, suddenly nobody's happy about Christmas. And I don't know, maybe that's the difference because in Christmas Vacation, you still get a Christmassy vibe. And this one, this could have been like just another Monday.
That's it.
Could have been.
But he did hit a Santa.
He did hit a Santa. But
that's what makes
that would be our review on Merry Friggin Christmas. Hope you guys enjoyed.
Bye now.
Are you not entertained?